5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And lift off.
Principal integration engineer. It's been a quiet countdown during the day, working relatively few minor issues. The teams are ready to launch as we approach T-minus 8 minutes to liftoff. Now we're launching from Space Launch Complex 40 here in the dark of Cape Canaveral. This will be our third GPS launch, and all of them have been from this launch pad. Now the spacecraft team performed functional checkouts of the GPS satellite during the day. The team began their final checks of the launch vehicle at T-minus 2 hours. At T-minus 38 minutes, the team concluded their electronic go-no-go poll and gave the OK to proceed into propellant load and launch. The team then began loading propellant at T-minus 35 minutes. We load the propellants as close to launch as possible in order to keep them cold. Both the first and second stages use the same propellants, as the second stage Merlin engine is very similar to those on the first stage. This allows us to make the second stage like a shorter version of the first stage, and this commonality is one of the many reliability features in the design. Now our fuel is a refined form of kerosene known as RP1. Our oxidizer is super chilled liquid oxygen called LOX. I mentioned keeping the propellants cold. We chill the liquid oxygen as cold as we can get it, allowing us to load more into the booster. Now currently the second stage is fully loaded with RP1 fuel, and the first stage continues loading for another minute. Liquid oxygen is also loading on both the first and second stages right now. We're also loading helium into storage vessels on the first and second stages. During flight, we'll take this cold helium, run it through heat exchangers on the Merlin engines. That heats the helium up, and as it expands, we use it to fill the empty volume in the propellant tanks. It's created as the engine pumps pull the propellant out of the stages. Now, you just may have heard a moment ago, we're inside of 7 minutes. We have begun engine chill in. That will cool the turbopumps and avoid thermal shocks when we start them at T-minus 2 seconds as part of the ignition sequence of the Merlin engines. The spacecraft team has transitioned the GPS payload to internal battery power, occurring just as we came on the air at T-minus 13 minutes. That is their last major activity required before launch. Currently, the range is green, ready to support. The weather, the only thing we've really been watching is the ground winds. They've been marginal, but for the moment, everything continues to look good. We've got about 17 miles an hour from the east. That's within limits. Now, if we do have to call a hold on today's launch, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow with liftoff time scheduled a few minutes earlier at 6:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, all systems continue to be go for a liftoff just past 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time.
All propellant tanks at pressure.
T-minus 20.
Fire X is on.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
Starting pitch kick. Starting gravity turn.
First stage engines at full power, looking good.
We have a solid telemetry link and power systems are nominal.
First stage propellant utilization is active.
Vehicle's on a nominal trajectory. Altitude 5.3 kilometers, velocity 225 meters per second, and downrange distance of 0.6 of a kilometer. Vehicle is supersonic. Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Propulsion's performing nominally, starting stage 2 engine chill.
We have a solid RF link. Power systems are nominal.
Vehicle's on a nominal trajectory, 30 kilometers altitude, 1 kilometer per second velocity, and downrange distance 20 kilometers.
Dragon power systems are nominal.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And we did hear fairing stage, but we may not be hearing those. And we won't be broadcasting second stage camera views at the request of our customer.
Dragon is in array deploy. Props is nominal.
Dragon solar array deployment.
Newfoundland AOS.
Solar array deployment.
Solar arrays have deployed.
Well, we can see the solar arrays deploying. This is a great moment. Of course, this is just the first step of a very complex mission.
Power global.
But from all accounts, we have Dragon orbiting the Earth with the solar arrays deployed. We have a couple days worth of really difficult challenges before we get to the station, but there's both solar arrays are deployed. It's performing nominally, and we are looking forward to a great mission here to the International Space Station. Hopefully become the first private company to service our international community at the space station.